Today, we will look at this reality and we will understand Advaita Vedanta from a totally different perspective. What if I told you that everything that you see, everything that you hear, feel, experience, and touch is a projection? It is a simulation that is being run on the most sophisticated operating system that has ever been known. All the reality that we think is real is simply sound, signals, images, and impressions that are happening within the consciousness that you are. This is not a modern conspiracy theory, but this is how reality is explained in the most ancient text known to mankind called the Upanishads. Now, this is the first video in the video series Consciousness and Conscious Creation. And through this video series, we will explore the depths of Advaita Vedanta to understand consciousness and conscious creation. Through this, we get a better understanding of what this reality actually is, and we will look at how we can make use of this understanding to consciously create the ideal life for ourselves, the life of fulfillment and abundance. The Advaita channel is about consciousness and conscious creation. Here we explore Vedanta and various other ancient teachings from India to understand the nature of reality and to consciously create our lives. This world is the matrix, it is a projection, and the consciousness that you are and the consciousness that you hold right now is the source code of everything, is the source from which everything is coming from. For some of you who are listening to this for the first time, this might be radical and this might not make a lot of sense. But be patient throughout this video as we explore the nature of consciousness as per the ancient Upanishads. In the first part, let us look at Advaita Vedanta and the basic premise of Advaita Vedanta. Advaita is non-duality. The fundamental teaching of Advaita Vedanta is that everything comes from one reality, and that fundamental reality is consciousness. Consciousness, the way Advaita Vedanta speaks about, is radically different from our general idea of awareness or consciousness. Most of us assume that the awareness that we are experiencing right now is because of some neural activity within the brain. But what Advaita Vedanta says is that there is one absolute reality, which is the infinite consciousness within which the universe itself has appeared. And what Vedanta goes on to say is whatever you perceive as the world right now and whatever you're experiencing right now is not actually outside of you, but it is really within you. Now contemplate on this for a moment. Whatever you have experienced so far within this world is just a set of sounds and forms and colors that are being projected and that are being seen or experienced within your awareness. Technically, we do not have any evidence to say that there is a world out there apart from me, apart from my awareness or consciousness. This is just not possible. Whatever we have experienced so far, it is within our own consciousness. Now, just look at your dreams. When we sleep, we dream different dreams and we experience a simulated reality called the dream world. When we are within the dream, we never realize that the entire dream world is being dreamt up by our mind itself. We think that there is a world outside, there are different people, there are different things independent of ourselves. It is only once we wake up from the dream that we realize that everything was happening within our awareness. There was nothing outside of our awareness. What Advaita Vedanta says is the same thing is happening to us in this waking world, in this reality that we call the universe. even the universe is happening within us. Technically, we are not within the universe, but the universe itself is within us. And the entire matrix and entire simulation is being projected within our consciousness. Now, Vedanta is not talking about the limited awareness that we are experiencing right now, but it is talking about something which is much more subtle. Advaita Vedanta says our source is infinite. We are, in fact, the infinite consciousness within which everything appears. But right now, most of us do not have access to it. We have come far from it and we have identified ourselves within this matrix, within this body mind complex, and we have identified with this world. And because of this, we are experiencing all the limitations of the world, of the body mind complex, and we are suffering because of it. And the solution, as per Advaita Vedanta, is simply to realize the fact of who we truly are and to go beyond this identification. In part 2, let us understand consciousness as the source code. Now, within this example, let us understand consciousness as the source code and the entire world as a game, as a simulation, and our body mind complex as the character of the game, as the avatar of the game. Now, in this example and in this context, what we must realize is that right now we have identified ourselves with this body mind complex and this character of the game. But what Vedanta is saying is that we are not this character. We are the source code of the game, and we are not just the source code, but we are the game itself. We are the entire system. We are everything all at once. This is a radical teaching, and let us explore this more to understand the nature of consciousness as explained by Vedanta. Now, just as a programmer writes code to create a virtual world in a game, consciousness codes our reality into existence. But unlike a game where programmer is separate from the code, as per Advaita Vedanta, we need to understand that the programmer, the consciousness, becomes the code and the resulting world. This source code of consciousness is infinitely creative, constantly generating new forms and experiences. But yet, at its core, it remains unchanged, pure, boundless awareness. Now, let's come to Maya, or the illusion of separation. We are all experiencing this world in a certain way. We experience this world as something which is apart from us, which is separate from us. We experience each other as being different from us. Now, why is this happening? If we are all one and if everything is an expression of consciousness, why do we experience separation? The answer given to Vedanta for this is Maya. Maya is said to be this simulation, the illusion of separation. Maya basically has two qualities to it. It projects the reality as we see it today, and it also conceals the true essence of reality. We can understand this with a simple example. This is the dream example. When we go to sleep and when we dream different dreams, we forget who we truly are and we assume the position of the dream ego. In reality, the entire dream world is being simulated within our own mind. Our mind is creating everything for us, but we forget this. We assume ourselves to be this individual dream ego within the dream, and we experience whatever happens to this dream ego as though it is happening to us. But once we wake up from the dream, we realize that the entire dream world, the forest, the animals, the birds, the other people within the dream, was all a simulation, and it was the creation of our own mind. Now, as per Advaita Vedanta, reality is similar to this, but it is stranger than this. Through Vedanta, we can understand that there is one source code which is consciousness, which is the source of everything. This consciousness not only has projected the reality that we see all around us, but it has also become it. So there is no difference between the creator and the creation here. And everything in essence is one. Only because of ignorance of the nature of reality, we are experiencing duality in this world. Now, in part 3, let us dive deeper into this example of consciousness as the source code, and let us understand consciousness in greater detail. And through this, let us also understand conscious creation to make sense of how to create our personal reality in a way where we can create a life of fulfillment and abundance. Now, just as all programs run on a basic substrata of binary code, Advaita Vedanta proposes that all reality runs on the substrata of consciousness. And this consciousness is a self modifying code. Unlike regular computer code, consciousness is self aware and is self modifying. It can observe itself and change its own parameters. And as per Advaita Vedanta, we can understand this reality as non-local processing. While computers process information in specific locations, consciousness as source code operates non-locally to manifest an infinite number of realities. And this consciousness is a unified field. In this view, consciousness is not just an emergent property of complex systems, but it is the very field in which all complexity arises. Now, I know the more I am talking about consciousness, the stranger and stranger it seems. But such is the nature of reality. It is very, very strange. But what is the point of all this, and what is the use of all this? Now, this is where we need to understand conscious creation. Until now, without the understanding of who we are and what consciousness actually is, we were living a life of unconsciousness. We assumed ourselves to be this little pegs, these little characters in the vast universe, and we thought that whatever we do and whoever we are has no consequence to this reality. But what Advaita Vedanta is telling us is that the entire universe is within your consciousness, within the consciousness that we are. So our lives has infinitely more meaning than what we thought it had. Our lives are powerful, and we can actually begin to shape our reality with this understanding. When we live a life of unconsciousness, we do not exercise our control over this reality. But once we realize that the source code of creation, the infinite consciousness, is who we are in our essence, then we can begin to consciously create a personality which is compatible with our ideal life. And through this, we can begin to consciously create a life that we actually want to live. Now, in order to understand this better, you need to understand conscious creation. And we have made a free masterclass called the Conscious Creation Paradigm. So, you can check out this masterclass after this video, and the link for it will also be given in the description. You can go through this masterclass, and you can also join the Advaita Conscious Society at the end of the masterclass to delve into these concepts in greater detail and to begin to exercise control over the reality in which you are right now. So I hope this was valuable to you, and I will see you in the next one. Subscribe to Advaita to wake up. Shivoham.